Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. First of a double dose of coverage on from 1 to 2:30, then back 5 to 7 Eastern. Live look at Aqueduct Racetrack, South Oaklawn Park, New York. As we close in on the opening race, Greg Wolf, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Sherling. Stakes action here. We're going to recap what happened later in our program. It won't be on our air. It's in that gap when we're off. But we also have the Whitmore out at Oaklawn, and we have a Triple Crown prep at Colonial.
We have it all. Yeah, a little two-parter show here. First few here from Aqueduct, couple races from Oaklawn, a little bit of a taste, and then we'll come back later for the last race here and the late races at Oaklawn as well, including both stakes, as you mentioned.
Bob Baffert trying to add some depth to that Derby roster. That's Butane and that Virginia Derby. We'll talk about that field a little bit later in the program. Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast main track. We have a fast track for the first time in a few days here in New York. It's presented by Claiborne Farm, if I didn't say it. Race 9.
I'm not even sure we had a fast track any of the days we raced last week. Now that you mention it, I hadn't really thought about it.
It's been a while.
I think it's the first fast track in at least 2 weeks.
Purple Martin and that Grade 3 Whitmore on today's program from Hot Springs. You can play everything right there at Naira Bets. Get signed up if you've not already. New customers get that $200 deposit match new customer bonus when you punch in that code MATCH200 at sign up at nairabets.com. Let's set up the opener as we're 9 minutes from a start. 1-turn mile, $50,000 condition. Claiming race, Fillies Mares, 3 and up. Royal Bobby, Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano. They won the opener yesterday. Even money here.
I'm just glad that we're getting the Forest Field, because there's a mandatory one every day, apparently, out of the way in the first race. And this race changed with Smokin' Hot Kitty coming out. The problem with Royal Bobby, who I'd be very happy to see win this race, is she can't get out of the gate. And that's been her problem since day one. Now, she's got yours, though. He is my upset horse in here. He was way against the track last time, and his race 2 back was good.
Yeah, that one 3-1 morning line. Seems like it's really those 3.
Yep.
Jimmy Wingfield, we will not have live on our air, but we'll show you a recap of what happened on the second portion of our coverage between 5 and 7 Eastern time as we go back to Grace and Grit here. 6 minutes from a start. And we're going to check in for the first time downstairs. She has a daughter named Grace, and she has more grit than any of us. Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, Grace has a lot of grit, that's for sure. I like that, Greg, as we'll check in with the newly acquired for the Amelia Green Barn at number 2, Grace and Grit in here. The picture up at the Tipton digital sale for $42,000. So I get it. She doesn't have, I mean, she does have some conditions left, and she is a New York bred after all. They're going to try here in this claiming 50. So, I mean, it's not that much of a negative considering this is $8,000 more than what they paid for her. She's a little bit of a tricky horse. She's tough to ride, as Jamie Rodriguez does climb aboard for the first time. Bit of a light mouth. Last time I know Kendrick tried to go up the rail when it was a day you wanted to be on the rail, and she just flat out refused. Watching her around the turn, she's like, no, I'm not going in there. So you kind of have to play her game and be amenable to her. Physically, she looks great in here, though I do want to watch how she warms up, Greg.
All right, thank you, Maggie. Coming onto the track here, post-parade, about to commence over $100,000 in this early Pick 5 pool. We'll start with Royal Bobby, still odds on here for Linda Rice.
Well, the start is going to be incredibly important with her. And, you know, you often see horses that have issues getting out of the gate from the inside position, going a mile, and she's always a problem.
Remarkable that she just every single start.
It's gotten better. I mean, when she first started, she was breaking 6-7 lengths behind the field.
Here's Grace and Grit, who Maggie touched on for Amelia Green.
Yeah, I worry about her lack of speed as well in this compact field.
Moonlight Gal stretching out.
Yeah, I just didn't think that she was good enough to win this race. She's facing better horses, but she can be forward.
And Manny Franco riding Bourbon Serengeti on the outside.
Who was 4-1 when we started talking about the 4 and went to 3-2. I'm going to guess somebody probably bet about $5,000 or so on her. I'm going to take a look. I like her chances, obviously. I'm not going to bet her if she stays this price. No, there's not that much in the pool. Wait, the pool, it hasn't been reflected in it. So she's, yeah, probably somebody bet about $10,000 on her, $5,000 or $10,000, I think.
Interesting.
Why, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, it hasn't updated it, what I'm looking at. That's the problem I'm having. It's still showing only $4,000 out of $30,000.
No, I wasn't referencing that.
Yeah, so.
But you thought chance-wise, let's talk about her chances in this race.
I like her chances in here. I think that she is the fastest horse early. Maybe the 4 will go, Moonlight Gal, and she can stalk outside of her. I know she was claimed at a lower level, but I thought she ran against some better horses last time and, you know, gets a big rider switch to Manny. And if she can run back the figure she ran last time, then I thought she'd be dangerous in here. And I also thought she'd be a better price. Yeah, somebody bet about 6,000 or 7,000 on her, probably 6,000.
Cantor Machi Barnes, second off the claim. This one claimed away from Linda Rice. Form before that was with Rick Dutrow Jr.
I figure if the Cantor Machis could win with Nabokov in the last race yesterday, I ran second and third for a lot of money, and I'm still annoyed. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how there was one. Can't figure it out.
But most baffling outcome of the afternoon came from Hot Springs, actually. Iowa-bred filly with a 29-1 upset that seemed like she had absolutely no chance on paper.
Really?
Delicina in the feature.
Wow, okay.
Shocking
I
result.
did not see that result. So I'm guessing you didn't have the pick 5 or
I
the
did
cross-country
not.
pick 5.
Well, let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll check in here with your current even money favorite in number 1, Royal Bobby. And, you know, Linda has given her a steady diet of 9 furlong races because a lot of times, well, that mitigates a horse who wants to break slowly. So therefore, you know, they're not completely outdistanced at the start of the race. And she does look like a 2-turn type of runner, but she's going to have to turn back today to this 1-turn mile. She looks fantastic overall here. And you can kind of see, like I kind of alluded to, why she might not get out of the gate particularly well. She doesn't lack a big hind end to her, and she's just incredibly laid back. It's not like she's a nervous type that doesn't want to stand in there. She just doesn't really possess that spark, that kind of oomph to want to leave. And, you know, now she has to break from the inside, which could be detrimental. I will say she had a horrible time of it last time where she, again, broke slow. Then she rushed up while keen, wide against the track where you wanted to be saving ground and Fast and Frisky able to wire the field that day. As we'll move on to number 4, Moonlight Gal. I do like her getting a bit more ground. She definitely is one that is built to handle a bit more distance, doesn't have that big of a hind end as well, and just a more long tubular type of barrel to her. She is bouncing and on her toes since she got tacked, which, as Andy mentioned, should be forwardly placed in here, and I can definitely foresee that, and maybe that will give her her best chance to win in this short field. Now, your second choice at 9 to 5, Bourbon Serengeti, will stretch back out in distance. You know, she's kind of one, you know, she's fine, at least looking at her physically, between 6 and a 1-turn mile. I don't want her particularly going any further than this. She's very nervous in the paddock. They were kind of messing around with her tongue tie. They wasn't tied as tight, and, you know, it was kind of upsetting her a little bit. And 2, I noticed when Linda had run her, she ran her in this kind of quasi-extension run-out blinker. Not as extreme covering her outside eye, but it kind of was a full cut with a little bit of a point on it. So now she just has a pair of cheater cut blinkers. I'm wondering if, you know, that may be beneficial to her. She just didn't make the greatest impression. But like I said, the Cantor Machis are doing well, and physically she looks fine in here. But Greg, I like what I'm seeing from Grace and Grit, and I'm willing to give her a shot here. I think Jamie Rodriguez will fit her quite nicely. I can't remember the horse exactly, but one that, you know, has this propensity, it was a couple weeks ago, that to bear out, and he just did such a good job of keeping this horse kind of running straight, not fighting with him, and I think he will use those skills with Grace and Grit today, and we'll see, maybe in a new barn she wakes up.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Meanwhile, there's Jose Lezcano on Royal Bobby. He took the first 2 on the card yesterday.
This is a very tough horse to take at 3 to 5. She is dropping down a little bit in here, but she hasn't been facing the toughest fields. Listen, if she drew an outside post in here and I wasn't that worried about the break, I'd think even with the pace, she's probably a relative cinch. But with the inside post and her propensity to get left, I think she could put herself in a very difficult horse. And when you're betting horses at super short prices, I don't know that you want horses that have those kind of issues.
Short price favorite, Royal Bobby from the rail. Expect a poor start, so keep your eyes out of the gate with the 1. We kick off this Saturday card with the opener, Chris Griffin with the call.
All set. at Aqueduct. Broke far apart there, and here's Bourbon Serengeti up on the far outside, and between horses, Moonlight Gal now asserts as a neck in front. Towards the inside is Grace and Grit, and Royal Bobby went from the rail and shifted all the way to the outside by design. Jose Lescano moves out to the center portion of the racetrack as they get set to come out of the chute and now hook up the backstretch in a three-way battle for the front. In between horses, Bourbon Serengeti now with a head advantage. At the rail, Moonlight Gal. Progressing on the outside is Royal Bobby. Grace and Grit. Jamie Rodriguez is high up in the saddle here, moving on forward, is in behind rivals, as at the rail it's Moonlight Gal. Moonlight Gal takes it right to Bourbon Serengeti. These two nose and nose, 23 and 4 for that opening quarter mile. Out wider is Royal Bobby, still on heels there. Grace and Grit, nowhere to go yet, 47.52 for a half-mile time. And here to the outside, Bourbon Serengeti is trying to dispatch a Moonlight Gal. Royal Bobby is ready to pounce too wide now. Grace and Grit is now shifting towards the outside to path 2, and they're chasing the new leader, the lone leader, and Bourbon Serengeti. Bourbon Serengeti, approaching a quarter mile left to go, is still in front. Grace and Grit's going to take a rail journey, is looking for room here at the rail. Just bumped the rail here as they reach the top of the stretch, and now unleashed. Grace and Grit is now sprinting clear. Grace and Grit is up by a full length and a half. Still coming back and fighting on is Bourbon Serengeti. It's Grace and Grit trying to hold on to this advantage. Bourbon Serengeti far back to Royal Bobby. Rail skimming ride. Jamie Rodriguez. Grace and Grit wins the opener. Bourbon Serengeti was second, then Royal Bobby in 1 minute 38.68 seconds.
Grace and Grit in the opener. Jamie Rodriguez and Amelia Green on the board, with a contender still to come in the Jimmy Winkfield.
Yeah, she ran well today. You know, she got herself into at least better position. They obviously weren't moving that fast up front, and while Bourbon Serengeti had no excuse not to win it, she just proved best. And you know, the truth is, the one didn't even break that bow. It's probably the best she ever broke.
Yeah.
And then she got a little rank, and Jose let her have her head to get up in there, and I don't blame him for doing that. She was just bad today.
Unfortunately, she gets beat at 3-5, despite maybe she's just so used to breaking poorly and leaving herself work to do. It caught her off guard. 7-2.
She was a curious heavy favorite here. I don't get it.
Not bad to get 7-2 in a 4-horse field when she was 3-1 morning line.
I picked the race 6-2. I wanted no part of the one given her gate antics, and she didn't even get left that bad.
So an upset to kick off our Saturday coverage. We'll have our prices when we come back. Again, Jamie Rodriguez for Amelia Green, still to come later today. Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby Trail from Colonial Downs. The next steps, we'll have previews, including butane for Baffert when we come back. Back with you on our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 2. America's Day at the Races brought to you in part where you can play all the races we bring you and much more at Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. Opener in the books here in New York. And not bad at all to get 7-2 in a 4-horse field on Grace and Grit to kick things off.
It's exact as paying $13 for $1. And when you consider the 4, at least on paper, was badly overmatched, if you were willing to bet against Royal Bobby, they were kind of the 2 horses left. A surprising price, considering. And you and I were talking off camera. Neither one of us could understand how Royal Bobby, breaking or not, was 3-5 in this race. She's okay. I mean, I get why she was favored, but 3-5.
Not that short.
Yeah, strange.
Grace and Grit takes advantage. And a 7-2 start to the Saturday card and to this early pick 5 as well. Anytime you beat an odds-on favorite in the sequence, it is going to greatly return your payout.
I wonder, do you think she was that big a favorite in the pick 5?
Probably not.
I wonder if they're a little more evenly matched. But still, I mean, listen, people bet the place on her too, right? I mean, you got $5 in a 4-horse field on the 6. It was crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Grace and Grit, Bennett Racing Stables, as mentioned, Amelia Green, who you got to look at there walking over with Jamie Rodriguez. Get the picture taken.
Well, they got paid off right away. They bought her for $42,000 at the digital sale. We talk about those guys dipping digital sales. They bought her back in February, $42,000 after her last start. And nobody was claimed, but she got almost $30,000 from the purse.
Race 2, start of the early pick 4, and a huge change here. The one who would have been a heavy favorite taken out. That's Magnanimous Max. Opens things up here.
I'm annoyed because I much preferred the other Linda Rice horse, Apalta, who's now going to be a heavy favorite in this race and I think is a likely winner.
All right, we'll get more on that shortly. 22 minutes away from the start. As we told you going to break, Oaks and Derby preps from Colonial Downs in Virginia coming up today. And a look at the upcoming Derby preps. 50 points to the winner of today's race at Colonial. Then we have the Jeff Ruby, Arkansas Derby, the big ones. Florida Derby, Wood, Bluegrass, and Santa Anita Derby, all with 100 points to the winner and 50 to the runner-up, which should get each of the first 2 finishers into that Derby starting gate.
And
today, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the most exciting thing is after next week's Jeff Ruby, we get to spend at least a week talking about why a synthetic horse isn't going to win the Derby, and then people can tell us the Animal Kingdom did it.
I was there for Animal Kingdom's prep win on synthetic. Still didn't like him in the Derby.
Where have you not been?
Butane for Bob Baffert. 5-2 morning line in this Virginia Derby. Going longer than he's gone before. When he stretched out to a mile and 16th in the Southwest, he seemed to go backwards.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't even beat Soldier and Diplomat. And while I think Soldier and Diplomat's a nice horse, and he had no chance trip in the Rebel, he's not a router. And to me, the best thing that happened to Butane here is to finish a well-beaten 4th or 5th and them to say, okay, we tried the Triple Crown Trail. Now we'll head towards maybe the Pat Day Mile and or the Woody Stevens on Belmont Stakes Day, because I don't believe that he wants to go long. I don't think he's a favorite to bet against. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. 3rd start of his 3-year-old campaign. We will see what happens here, son of Tiz the Law. Meanwhile,
Tiz the Laws.
High Camp, Will Walden, John Velasquez, coming off a maiden win at start number 2 at Gulfstream at 7/8.
I don't know how confident I am that this horse wants to go a mile and 1/8, but he did beat a very nice horse in Growth Equity, who was a second-time star and runs since Saratoga for Klarovich and Chad Brown, and he got a good figure. He could be okay. I guess the question is how far he really wants to go. Instagram, I guess it's up in the air, right? Just not enough Instagrams have really done that much running. Of course, there was also campaigned by OXO.
Meanwhile, storyline 2 for the whole day. Arad Ortiz Jr. injured in a starting gate incident, I believe back Sunday potentially.
I can't remember if he's out this weekend.
But he's off his mount.
He's definitely
today.
off today. Yeah, Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Confessional, Julien Leperoux will be aboard for Brad Cox.
And both Confessional and Incredible are 2 horses that ran incredibly poorly in their last starts, but have back races good enough to be competitive here and are looking to bounce back.
Meanwhile, race earlier, Virginia Oaks, obviously a change there as well. And Hit Parade will be Christian Torres filling in for Arad Ortiz Jr. for Brad Cox. And morning line favorite, Bottle of Rouge.
How is a horse in this race favored over Dazzling Dame? Is it just because of Bob Baffert? I think Dazzling Dame's a cinch.
For Brittany Russell,
She's. If you want to give an early Kentucky Oaks pick, she's my current
90
pick.
buyer, dominant win in the Busanda. With more, let's go to Maggie.
I cannot agree more, Andy. What the heck? 6-5 on Bottle Rouge, who should have been disqualified in her last win. Yeah, I'm all about Dazzling Dame here, who truly did dazzle last time out in the Busanda. And the gap between races truly also by design here by trainer Brittany Russell, because she is enormous. This is a big 3-year-old filly that she obviously, when you're that talented and yet have that size, you are a little hard on yourself. So giving her the time between races should suit her down to the ground. You know she has speed and you know she can carry it, as she still has yet to answer the 2-turn question, which heading into the Kentucky Oaks still might be a question, as this contested around a 1-turn mile and a 16th here today down at Colonial. But I really like her too, Andy. And I mean, the only other horse I would maybe recommend is the horse right outside to her in Hit Parade for Brad Cox, who had a bit of a trip last time out, when finishing a distant 5th in the Martha Washington behind Search Party. But I think it's a Dazzling Dame show today.
Intrigued to see that matchup. Just to clarify, too, yeah, Rat Ortiz Jr. out through Sunday, hoping to return next week.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been looking for a Dazzling Dame because of how impressive she was last time. And the figure was backed up when the second-place finisher and came back and ran a big figure in her next start, a much bigger figure. So it does sort of lend a lot of credence to that being a very fast race last time, an improving horse for Brittany Russell. And yeah, I mean, I am going to root for horses that run here in the winter to do well in the bigger races. I think it makes us look good, and, you know, some take a lot of heat. Some deserve, some not. But I think she's a major player going forward for Brittany Russell.
That's race 8 on that Colonial Downs card. Prep for the Kentucky Oaks. We have the opener from Hot Springs 5 minutes away. We'll have it for you when we come back from a timeout. A restricted maiden optional claiming race, mile and a 16th. Stay with us.
$1,600,000, $1,600,000 bid now $650,000, $1,650,000. Anybody else want $650,000 bid today? $1,650,000 $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
And here's Tama in the final stages. The Santa Anita Derby goes to Tama. It's Tama, absolutely terrific, winning Malibu by 4 widening lengths.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
Here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore striding forward for the lead in the final furlong of the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What a day in the career of this 7-year-old. Whitmore and Rat Ortiz Jr. have won the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Whitmore winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and the pride of Hot Springs coming up with a huge moment.
He had two really, really big wins in his career. This race, and when he was the only horse to beat City of Light, when he beat him in the Forego with a great trip and great ride that day, unlike City of Light. But City of Light was an incredible horse. A lot of us think, and I kind of think should have been Horse of the Year that year. But he was a neat horse. He was just a very, very cool horse.
One of the most popular horses ever on the grounds in Hot Springs. And Mig, who we're going to go out to now, along with Megan Burgess, I thought you put it well here, sort of a Whitmore light with Tejano Twist, who's been doing some good things in Hot Springs for quite a while now, too, as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I think their longevity, Greg, is creates a fan base. People want to see these horses. They look forward to seeing them. And Whitmore's 15 career victories, 9 of them were right here at Oaklawn Park.
He is special, and I can't imagine how special he was. The horse of Ron Moquette's career, $4.5 million in earnings, and for a horse that's in the Breeders' Cup Sprint for 4 different times. And it took him until his 4th try, where he was 18-1 against the likes of Yaupon, where he was able to clinch that Breeders' Cup. What a special moment back in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Ron's had great success, over 1,000 wins, 2 Southwest Stakes here, the Grade 1 Stephen Foster as well. But Whitmore, certainly the horse that I think kind of cast him into more national prominence. We got the opener coming up here at Oaklawn Park. It's for maidens going a mile and a 16th, claiming tag 75,000. And beautiful day here, huh? This is
gorgeous.
I mean, just being here in the infield. Here is the one. Fat guy in a little coat for you Tommy Boy fans.
Out of Cheesecake, which I know we both get a giggle out of. Blinkers go on. He just needs to take another step forward, but has speed.
And the 2 horse, No More Kings.
He ran well behind Special Ops, who was just a blowout winner last time out. He's interesting if he takes another step in the right direction.
The 3, McBridge, has to improve.
Has to improve and get much faster against the likes of these.
And the 4 horse, your favorite, C. McGriff. I wonder if it's named for the basketball player Cameron McGriff.
Maybe. That probably seems right. But has the speed of this group and the buyer speed figure the best of this field last time out?
The Brad Cox trainee, backside, moving up in class.
Interesting. Was in for maiden 35 tag last time out, moving him up to the $75,000 tag. And he also is one that needs to get faster.
The 6 horse, Farrell, getting to route on the dirt for the first time.
And he has all the size. Last time out, he just hasn't had the cleanest of trips in his last 3. We'll see if he can put it together and get back to that 2-back effort that was on the turf, though.
And number 7, Devilish Act for the Asmussen family. Steve trains, Eric rides.
A note I made last time out was maybe I wanted to see him stronger in his top line, and just looking at him from this angle, it kind of gives me the same indication. But Steve's horses always look fantastic. I mean, he's out there shining like a copper penny and has all the pedigree to indicate that he wants to go this route of ground.
Yeah, I really couldn't get past the favorite here, the 4 C. McGriff. You know, he sprinted once, broke a little bit slow, and actually finished with interest. And last time, stretching out for the first time, and that was, off a little bit of a freshening, right? Not seen since November. I thought he was very good that day, and he gets Rafael Bejarano, who's quietly putting a nice meet together here.
He is, and the trainer Robert Medina is not as ferocious, about 8%, just 2 wins this meet. So he's the horse to beat. He makes all of the sense in the world with a strong figure, and by Tapetus out of the damn Wonderstone, who won on the synth. He's the horse to beat. I don't have an issue. I just have an issue with the price, which led me to the number 6, Farrell, who was the even money favorite last time out, less than even money, and didn't run to that. I'm giving him another chance with the more dirt-inclined pedigree on paper.
Well, it is, again, one of those races. There's 3 or 4 in here that I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I went with the favorite, C. McGriff, August Dawn Farm, Coach Bill Parcells, Super Bowl champion, as well as NFL Hall of Famer. They're loading up in the gate. Matt Dinnerman on this beautiful, sunshiny day at Oaklawn Park.
Farrell, post position number 6. McBridge, post 3. 1 back. Devilish Act to the outside. 11 races on tap today. Good luck. We're ready to go. We're off and running at Oaklawn Park. Devilish Act sent for speed from the far outside. Fat guy in a little coat is a little bit quicker naturally. Strides in front clearly here. C. McGriff taking second. Farrell alongside as they go into the turn. Devilish Act is parked deep as they corner into that turn. No More King scraping pain early. Drops back to the 4th position. We come back in the field to McBridge, who's second to last. Backside alongside as they make their way towards the backstretch here, where the pacemaker on the lead. Fat Guy in a little coat. Onto the backstretch. Fat Guy in a little coat. A bit keen here. Leads by 2 on restraint early here. Farrell in the 2nd position. Gap of 2. No More Kings in 3rd. C. McGriff to the outside. Another 3. Devilish Act, McBridge, they run as a pair. And backside, can only see that as they head down the backstretch towards the half-mile pole. Fat Guy in a little coat. Tyler Bacon trying to ration this one's speed. He's kicked onto a 2.5 length edge here. Farrell in the bridle going well in 2nd. No More Kings to the inside. He's 3rd. C. McGriff niggled along just a little bit as he hits the far turn run. Devilish Act in 5th. He's 7 behind as they're strung out now. McBridge under a ride and backside still at the rear roll, pumped upon as they round the far turn. Here comes Farrell. Farrell grabs a short lead. Fat Guy in a little coat back in 2nd now, and Farrell's kicking on. Farrell at the quarter pole leads by a length. Fat Guy in a little coat 2nd. C. McGriff in an all-out drive as they come down the lane. Farrell on the lead with 3/16 to go. Farrell down the stretch leads a length and a half. C. McGriff chasing hard in 2nd. Outside, No More Kings is 3rd. Furlong to go. Farrell desperate for the line. He's starting to get leg weary. C. McGriff coming after him. C. McGriff and Farrell stride for stride. C. McGriff going to the front. C. McGriff and Rafael Bejarano to win it. Farrell was 2nd. Devilish Act 3rd. No More Kings 4th.
And it was the favorite, C. McGriff, and thank you to Greg Wolf. He texted me, it named for Curtis McGriff, who actually played for Coach Parcells, and a very resolute workman-type victory here, Megan.
Yeah, it almost seemed as around the turn we were discussing off camera that he was really riding this horse and asking him steadily throughout, so it wasn't as if he maybe did it easy, but Farrell, it kind of seemed like he was getting a little tired late, maybe a shortcut back to sprinting for him as a son of Volatile, but C. McGriff ran to his favoritism in this spot. Nice call, Mig.
Well, he was the favorite, and at least we rounded out the exacta here, right, Megan? And around the turn, it looked like Farrell was going better of the two, but maybe just a little bit more fitness, and C. McGriff gets it done in the opener at Oaklawn Park, guys, and starting off the day a little bit chalky here in Arkansas.
I'm going to be sending out to the G League team in Salt Lake City that Cameron McGriff plays for and get Richie a jersey. And we're going to make him wear it on the air in Saratoga one day.
They'll be game. August Dawn Farm Silks there winning for Coach Bill Parcells, who is a regular at Saratoga each and every summer. Back here to New York, race 2, mile and an eighth, 30,000 claiming race. Non-winners of 2 Life, even money favored. Here, a Apulta for Linda Rice.
I actually...
With the man who will ride.
Yes, and I think Apulta should be a heavy favorite in this race. I like the maiden win, but more importantly, Linda ran this horse way over his head last time, which is an unusual move for Linda. And I think that showed a lot of confidence, and I don't think she was dramatically wrong, even though he lost by 15 lengths. He was against the bias, wide around the racetrack going 2 turns. Thought he ran a very credible race, and if he runs his last race, I think they're all running for 2nd.
Public agrees. At a very short number here, Sahin Savachi will ride for Linda, who is just off to a torrent start.
Well, she was well prepared for a winter where we're running too many days, and I think people need to understand. Our schedule called us to run, I think, for 5 straight weeks going 3 days in March, because this is always a lean time of the year. Unfortunately, with all the cancellations, we were put in a position where we had to make up. We were forced to make up every single day that we canceled. And in doing so, we're running a lot of days that we shouldn't be running on. And therefore, we're coming up with pretty thin cards. Linda Rice is ready for that, much more prepared with a lot of horses, making a lot of claims out of town, and that's why she's dominating.
Post parade coming up in a moment. Pick 4 begins in this one coming up, and we'll start here in a moment with Carlin Contention, who was on a wet track last start at a mile and an eighth.
I'm amazed that this horse is single-digit odds, and I think that shows just how strong the favorite is, because this horse is nowhere near competitive on speed figures with just 1 win and 12 starts.
Egyptian next door for Orlando Noda?
Probably one of the other main contenders in here, and maybe give a little pass for the wet track on a big speed track last time out. And the race 2 back is absolutely good enough to be a contender here.
McDiesel faced Egyptian back on February 19th. Speed and then backed up.
I mean, this horse's recent dirt races are just completely uncompetitive. Could go the lead, and probably Apalta will be chasing or stalking.
Here is Apalta. Sahin Savachi is mentioned aboard.
I think this horse is a layover in this race.
And Ambridge, Manny Franco for Bill Morey.
Ambridge is a bit dangerous, to be fair. I mean, last time out, I thought, had a little bit of trouble in there, but that inside steady was very, very minor. But before the last race, he had run figures that could make him competitive. I would prefer him as the main danger over the 2 Egyptian, but they are the 3 main players, obviously.
Looking strong in the warm-up, the 5. Here's Egyptian. Should be at least somewhat forward here early on.
Yeah, I think Egyptian probably tucks in with the number 5 behind the 3 and 4 in this race, and have to imagine that Apalta, they want to be forward. I don't think a trip is going to get this horse beaten. I think it's a question of what kind of effort you get from him. But his race 2 back was good enough to give him a chance in here, and we did see Ambitious win his next Ambition, the horse who beat him 2 back. That horse came back and beat a much tougher field, a huge price in his next start.
Andy, strongly in the camp of Apalta, so is the public, Maggie.
Yeah, okay. I've never been Apalta's biggest fan, at least when it comes to observing him in the paddock and pre-race. He's just a little bit of a unimpressive sort. I always talk about a horse and how they walk and how they stride out. And for him, I almost think it's just kind of nerves. But when they eclipse their hoof print, when they overstride is what we say, their hind feet overstep where their front feet have just been. He doesn't do that. He understeps, if you will, by about 2 hoof prints. And he's just not a good doer. He never carries his weight particularly well, but I do think he comes in here off of a very nice effort, despite it not looking great. He was just so completely against the racetrack for his first start in a while, and for Linda Rice. So he looks incredibly fit coming back here second off that bit of a break. And I do think, the 9 furlongs is right up his alley. So he's a deserving favorite, and I'm not going to be surprised when he wins, but I just so much preferred the 5 in here on appearances. Ambridge for Bill Morey, as Andy was just saying, comes out of the Ambition race. And then, look, Apalta comes out of the Interceptor race, who is in flying form right now as well. But Ambridge, last time out, he was stalking on the rail. It wasn't a day where it was a particularly strong rail or anything. Then he kind of came under a ride, and he stayed glued to the rail. He didn't have anywhere to go. Now, mind you, I don't think he was ever winning, but I do think having to steady and wait and wait and wait for room during the stretch maybe cost him a position or some lengths, to be fair. He just makes such a nice impression. He's carrying his weight well, his conditioning. He's gotten this big galloping warm-up where he looks even better out on the racetrack. So I'm going to try him. Of course, as I say that, Greg, he clicks over to slight favoritism.
All right, thank you, Maggie. Maggie to the 5, Andy to the 4. I like the way the 5 warmed up here, Ambridge. 3-2, but no bargains really with either of these two. Both the same price. As we take a look at the 3rd choice in here, Egyptian.
I picked the race 4-5-2. I prefer him least of the ones getting bet, but I don't. I do prefer the 4 a lot, and I'm probably going to bet the 4 at 3-2. But I do think these horses can win. It's not as though Apalta is that good. I just think he's a likely winner in this spot. But Egyptian's okay, and I'll forgive his last race. That was a huge speed track in the rain, and I don't think it was the wet track. I think he took a step back because of the bias. I can't find it. Cameron McGriff.
Upset in the opener.
Disappointing.
And we'll see what happens here in leg 2. But both the 4 and 5 at 8-5 on the board. It's Apalta the slight favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. There's not going to be any big late swings. We don't see that here at Naira. But right now it's sort of bouncing between favoritism. Ambridge is okay. My problem with Ambridge is I didn't love this. He had a little bit of an excuse last time, but just a little bit of an excuse. I did not like this horse's last race.
Break coming up shortly here. In terms of this pick 4, I thought race 3's wide open in the next.
I really do like the 3 in the next race.
He's got this, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be very tough in that race.
And then what about your thoughts on the 4th?
I like 24 Mamba, but I think that Bermuda Blitz is dangerous in there as well. Did you have any big thoughts there?
Yeah, I think 24 Mamba is very dangerous. Big Hat, I know, is a wet track. Got back to some of his better races.
Yeah, I can't bet him.
Hard to trust.
The 5th is wide open, though. You've got firsters. You've got a couple experience. I pick She's Bankable, the one with experience, but I think the inside 2 firsters are dangerous.
Yeah. K-Gun, Nika, Horacio De Paz, and David Duggan. See what happens. Sequence starts here in this pick 4. Mile and 1/8, 2 turns for non-winners at 2 life. And favoritism is swapped now to the 5. Ambridge loading up. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Moving to the inside, Carlin contention. And they're off. McDiesel breaks like a shot right out to the front, and McDiesel's up by a quick length. Will now back off here and slow things down up front. It's Ruben Silvera. McDiesel going to control the tempo early into that first turn. Following McDiesel towards the outside, here comes Ambridge, is now a stalking second. No hurry up front as Egyptian is a comfortable third. Outside of them comes Apaltas in the 4th position, and the early trailer, Carlin contention. McDiesel will show the way in 25.01 for that opening quarter mile. Crawling up front, McDiesel's now a half length in front as Ambridge is right up alongside. Towards the inside, here comes Egyptian, and Egyptian is now in behind that leading duo, followed by Apalta towards the outside, and this quartet is still well clear of the lone trailer. Carlin contention, 12 off the lead. McDiesel is in front and went 49.21 for a half-mile time. It's McDiesel now up by a full length once again. Ambridge, no move yet. Ambridge and Manny Franco now encouraging him to move forward as McDiesel's got less than a half mile to go to pull off the upset. And here comes the run from Apalta towards the outside. Also shoved along as Egyptian. No move yet. Carlin contention. Can McDiesel take him all the way? It's McDiesel who's up by a neck. McDiesel's approaching a quarter mile left to go, is trying to hold off the charge from Ambridge towards the outside. An all-in Apalta and a nowhere to go yellow blinkers of Egyptian. Gokchan Kochakaya needs some way through. The rail might open up here. McDiesel's in front. Here comes Kochakaya at the rail, but down the center of the racetrack, it's Apalta 2. 3 of them across the racetrack now, and here comes Apalta thrusting to the front. Apalta's taking the lead, still rallying on towards the inside. It's Egyptian. Apalta inside the final 16th is up by 2 widening lengths. Give it to Apalta to win it. Apalta over Egyptian, then came McDiesel to finish third in 1 minute 51.14 seconds.
Layup, according to Andy Serling, and you're right here. Good call. Apalta easy. Time race 2. Linda Wright, Sahin Savachi.
I think his job was made a lot easier when the 5 Ambridge was a complete and total no-show in here. And I said, I think it was a very logical horse. Frankly, 8-5, I think was a very fair price in this small field. He just been very ambitiously placed and was against the track last time. He just made a lot of sense in here and won fairly comfortably. I was just surprised he was a little farther back than I expected, but it didn't make any difference.
4-2, 3-5 finish. Slight favorite at 8-5. Ambridge went off of that same number, but a little more money to Apalta. And Linda Rice, who owns this one as well, went second off the Claim with his 4-year-old son of Authentic.
Claim for $20,000. Purse in this race, the winners share the purse, about $26,000. Linda's already out with this horse, and she's got a horse that can run a little bit. Doubt he was claimed, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll try and get information on that if this one was taken. But Apalta did not take long to win off the Claim here for Linda Rice. 8-5 is your favorite here in race 2. So 7-2, 8-5. Start through the first couple on the card. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, won it back in 2023. Second beat a nose the next year. Then third to Booth last year. Now it's a 7-year-old. Can Tejano Twist get back in the winner's circle in the Whitmore? We'll be back. Back with you on our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 2, America's Day at the Races. 2 in the books in New York. We have race 2 coming up at Oaklawn, and later today, a couple of stakes which we'll preview coming up. First, Apulta. Good call, Andy Serling. Easy win, and you said this one was a cinch.
Well, it worked out that way. So, you know, just a horse that didn't really matter where he was placed. He was just better than these horses, and Linda found a more realistic spot for him. The 2 Egyptian was claimed.
Yeah.
Does he walk like an Egyptian? You're like a Bengals guy. I would bet money you've seen the Bengals in concert.
I've not, but I
really
wouldn't. I'd love to. Race 3, mile and 3/16. $10,000 claiming race, 4-year-olds and up. Texas Red Hot, some reason, is opening as the favorite.
Well, they like the races the horse was running at Oaklawn, which I don't like Nabokov, but the horses that'll vie for favoritism according to doubles are the 2 Confabulation, who's the speed, and the 3 He's Got This.
Starts, by the way, a mandatory pay pick 5, so we'll have more on that race coming up momentarily. Whitmore, grade 3, featured today in Hot Springs in that sprint division. And as we told you going to break, 4th try for Tahano Twist. He won this in his first try back in 2023. Back in action as a 7-year-old, 5-time winner in Hot Springs. He's won over $1.7 million, and showing last time out, he's still got more left in the tank.
Yeah, but doesn't he also, if you were to make like a list of horses that seem to really show up a little better than normal when Flavian Pratt was aboard, you'd probably put Tahano Twist in that category. And to be fair, he didn't run a particularly Beyer figure faster than races he's run. He's run some faster figures before. He just managed to get it done. I mean, he's always sort of a little compromised as a deep closing sprinter, but he's a pretty neat horse that much more often than not seems to show up with a solid effort.
We've gotten to know him pretty well over the years. 46 career starts, and I mentioned all those earnings, 5 wins, 7 runner-ups.
How about his record at Oaklawn? He's got 16 starts with 12 firsts and seconds, 5 and 7, and 15 out of 16 hitting the board at Oaklawn for a horse that's always way farther back. That's really impressive.
Meanwhile, tough catch for Dallas Stewart. Certainly stepping up in class, coming off a nice win at Oaklawn on a muddy seal track.
I'm only going to bet on him, though, if we show the Dallas Stewart feature before the race. Because we showed it the other day, and he wanted a price with a horse. And he's a neat horse, you know. I thought he ran well in the Mahoning Valley Sprint. And I just think this is a horse that they tried to get him to stretch out. It didn't work out in LeCompte. He probably got hurt as he didn't come back for a significant period of time after that. But they're keeping him sprinting, and he's run well. I think he's going to have to improve a little to beat the likes of Wendelson and Tahano Twist in here and maybe even Bourbon Bash. but he's still a neat horse.
Yeah.
And he's
totally
improving.
different level of competition that he beat in that race that we just showed you.
Yes, this is a much, much tougher field.
That is race 10. Preceding it, Purple Martin for 3-year-old fillies sprinting. For more on that race, let's go back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, really an interesting addition of the Purple Martin. We have filly in, excuse me, my notes here.
River Wind.
River Wind. I was going to say Wind River, who was very, very impressive on debut. Super professional. I mean, she just was so focused. Now she has the rail, and as focused as she is, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I just have my qualms sometimes with these horses that come off of these, albeit a very impressive visual performance last time out. And her first start is daughter of Lexitonian, whose first crop 3-year-olds are still running and coming on this year. But it just wasn't a very strong group that day. There were no next out winners of the 4 to run back from this group. So I still have my question marks about her. She broke from the inside, as mentioned. She will have speed, but she will have others right there on the front end. Won't get the cozy trip she got in this race.
Yeah, but I think, too, in some ways, she created her own trip. I mean, she did go 21-4 the first quarter, so they're going to have their running shoes on. I agree. There is other speed in here. Like the 4-horse, Goodall, who's actually making her 3rd start. I thought improved from her first start to her 2nd start.
This is the horse I have some interest in. She cut a pace, 44-3 at the half, was faster of an early pace than the 6 furlong male equivalent earlier on this Risen Star Day card. Now, that card was mostly dominated on the front end. We had some stakes horses close, but on that undercard, you wanted to be forward on that fairgrounds track. She's got some talent. She's also a question mark. She's in the exact same pivot situation coming off a maiden victory as the aforementioned River Wind.
What I did like, though, despite what you pointed out about the track being kind to speed and inside, I like the way she met that challenge, you know. And the art of race riding is subtle. Luis Saez did it very subtly. He floated out just to meet that challenge. You don't want to go sideways. The wire's in front of you, but you do want your horses to engage.
She's got some talent. I think you're in heaven, the outside runner for Dallas Stewart. I also have some interest in. He bred the filly, owns that horse in partnership with Windstar. It's a competitive group. We've got some interesting stakes here on this card, Mick.
Yeah, a couple nice stakes here, guys. And obviously you guys have the Jimmy Winkfield later this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll recap what happened in that race on our later coverage between 5 to 7 Eastern start time, but looking forward to see what happens in that race. 3 very strong contenders, including for Amelia Green.
Yeah, I agree.
Igniter,
yeah,
the one to beat.
Igniter's last race was very good. I'm interested to see if he's a horse that can keep that form because he feels like he could be okay.
We're going to take a timeout. Leading the way out at Hot Springs, Ramon Vasquez has got 2 big mounts this afternoon. River Wind in the Purple Martin and Tough Catch for Dallas Stewart in the Whitmore. We'll be back.
How magnificent was Full Count Felicia? Never in doubt.
Coming down to the finish, First World War. Fort Washington on the outside. They're coming down to the line, and Goliad does it.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Say hello to Move. It's a one-horse race. Very professional and very fast. Move, rolling home by 4 in fine style.
Muth, the son of good magic, coming down the stretch in Hot Springs to win it.
She's so spicy. She won it by 4 lengths on the wire. Side by side and stride for stride. Who's it going to be? My
Breeders' Cup winner.
And Skippy's got it won! It's an upset in Pegasus 10.
For a time, as many as 350 Major League players converged in Hot Springs, Arkansas each spring to prepare for the upcoming season.
Ownership felt they needed to boil out the alcoholic microbes. Hot Springs was known as a place that had therapeutic waters, and they came for that reason. And then the ball players turned out to love it because they really not only did get in shape, but they had a great time.
By the 1930s, nearly half of all Major League teams had, at some point, used Hot Springs as their spring training base. Plus, about half of all prominent ball players visited Hot Springs individually. Babe Ruth used to visit Hot Springs to work his way into shape, a place to prepare for spring training. In fact, the Babe even used the hot healing waters to recover from influenza. This wall at the Gangsters Museum of America in Hot Springs represents the long list of Hall of Fame baseball greats who trained here. The winter storm of 2021 is a reminder of why baseball eventually migrated away from Hot Springs. The rain proved to be a disruption, and sometimes even the cold and snow wiped out valuable practice time. Although by the 1930s most teams moved to Florida and Arizona, Hot Springs would continue to be a destination for players to work out before joining their major league squads for decades to come.
Such rich, deep history here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. I'm Richard Migliori with Megan Burgess. And Megan, not only do they have spring training, you've got the Gangster Museum downtown, and obviously great historic racing. And here is the post parade for race 2. The one, Blue Line, your favorite.
And your favorite coming off of a very long layoff. Haven't seen this horse since January of last year.
Rhino Grace, a big price.
Big price, as he should be. Hasn't really run a race that makes me want to bet him at this point.
Another big price with the 3 Sneaky Feet.
Also lacks all early speed.
I'll try this. Skibidi Riz.
You got
the
it.
4.
You got it. Takes the blinkers off and cuts back in distance. Has some speed.
5-horse Fast Joker's got a look.
Another that cuts back in distance. I love me a cutback. This horse has just been pretty slow in the last 2. If you go 3 back in May of last year, could maybe make a case.
Another Asmussen runner here in the 6 classically.
Same level as last time, but cuts back in distance. Never gone short on dirt before.
Montana Cafe, horse that I have a look for, but 10-1 now off the 5-1 morning line.
Yeah, but figures are comparable. Just hasn't run all that much.
And the 8 Woods Point.
This is who I have interest in, coming off a second-place performance at this level last time out.
And your co-favorite, or vying for favoritism, I should say, the 9 Tip Top Joe.
Should be a part of the early pace from that outside draw.
Tiptoe Joe. I said top. Don't ask me why.
Tiptoe Joe.
But yeah, pretty wide open affair. Did you wound up on the 8?
I did. Listen, I really liked the visual look of the 1 as far as on paper, but just accepting that kind of price on a horse that just has no overt edge, also contending with that kind of extended layoff, I don't want to accept an overly short price. Though Steve Asmussen knows how to get his horses ready off the bench. He's just 11% off of the extended 3 to 500A layoff the past 5 years, but he's never really done so at Oaklawn Park. So an interesting horse that can win this race if he's ready to go from a fitness perspective.
And then he also does have to work out a trip from the inside. It's interesting. To me, the 2 main speeds are to the outside, from the way I see it, the 9 Tiptoe Joe and the 8 Woods Point. Don't you think they kind of have a little bit more natural speed than everybody else?
I do. I thought there would be a good pace to materialize up front here, especially, but it's also one of those things, the horses that are live, the horses that make sense, all have that speed. The horses that might be a cut below are a bit more of those closing factors. So I do find this is a race where I'm still going to opt for a speed horse because I find it's going to hold up front.
And, you know, I've always kind of leaned in that direction. If I like 2 horses and one is going to be further back than the other, in lower level races, I'll always kind of give the nod to a horse that's going to be more forward because it just lends itself to a better trip.
It does. And especially when you're horses that are just not as good, especially at this level, are way behind you, it makes for the case. But I think Woods Point at 4-1, maybe a semblance of value up there on the board, but 2-1's a little short on the 1 and the 9 in my opinion, Mig.
Well, I'm going with the 7 Montana Cafe. Is 10-1, a little cold on the board. Josh Radosevich got his first Oaklawn Park win. He's a 7-pound apprentice just the other day, trying to make the best of what he can with limited opportunities. Well, for the second opportunity today at Oaklawn Park, Matt Dinnerman, he has the call.
Woods Point, post position 8. Skibbity Riz, post position 4. Tiptoe Joe coming up to the gate. Waiting for Tiptoe Joe. Your current 2-1 favorite on the board as he takes his spotted line. We're ready to go. And we're off. From the inside, blue line is sent for speed. Skibbity Riz a little bit quicker in the early stages. Tiptoe Joe, he claims the second spot. Montana Cafe right behind him in third. Then the Asmussen pair. Classically, blue line to his inside. Woods Point is making up some ground on the outside. He's only 2 behind. And the white cap, blue jacket. Big space of 5 from him. The Rhino to Grace, another 3 lengths back to Fast Joker. Sneaky feet to the outside at the back as they go towards the fourth turn. They've sorted themselves out. Into the turn they go. Woods Point making a dash to come and challenge Tiptoe Joe. Woods Point outside, narrow lead. Tiptoe Joe a half length back trying to keep pace with him. They've opened up 4 on the competition. Montana Cafe in the third position. Rhino to Grace about to join him. Big space back to Skibbity Riz, who's lost contact with the top 4 as they come off the turn. Woods Point down the stretch. Still a narrow lead here on Tiptoe Joe. On the outside, Rhino to Grace is 51-1 trying to run on here, and so is Montana Cafe. 1 furlong to go. Woods Point has the lead inside. Tiptoe Joe's coming back. Tenacious Tiptoe Joe and Montana Cafe down the center. 3 runners driving to the line. Montana Cafe on the outside. Montana Cafe got there. Montana Cafe over Tiptoe Joe, then Woods Point and Fast Joker, who is 4th.
Well, getting up very late, it was the 7 Montana Cafe. I thought this was a really nice ride from Josh Radosevich. No panic at all when he was surrounded by horses, saved ground, eased out for the drive, and came with a resolute run to pick off the co-favorite from the 9, Tip Top Joe. And well, I went off a bigger price than I thought he would, but I'll take it.
This is a great win, Meg. You've been 2 back-to-back winners in these first 2 races, and this horse, as I mentioned before, has been running the figures, just hasn't gotten to against these same foes that he's faced in his last 2 races. And Woods Point and Tiptoe Joe got the edge on them today. And as I mentioned, that apprentice has been riding this horse regularly for Kim Kuhl, who hasn't been having the best of meets, but really nice to see them get a win here with 8-1 shot.
And a nice ride from a young man trying to carve out a career here at Oaklawn Park as we head back to New York.
Thanks, you two. Post-parade race 3 here in New York coming up, and we're going to kick things off. The 10,000 claimer, mile 3/16 once again. We'll see first Trumpet for Ed DeLauro, Jorge Vargas, and 2 back. That race puts him in contention.
It does, but he also rode a bias that day. I think the biggest potential impact he could make on this race is if he's aggressively ridden and gets in the way of confabulation, the 2.
Oh, has forward ability.
Yeah.
7:01 right now. Next door, there is confabulation for the Cantermachi barn.
Taking a significant drop down to the bottom level claimer. He looks like the main speed on that drop. I didn't like his last race, but he still has to be considered a major player.
He's got this, Sahin Savachi and Rick Dutrow Jr. off the claim.
He was way against the racetrack last time. I think ran credibly. Claimed by Rick Dutrow. I think he's way the horse to beat.
Centavo with Omar Hernandez Moreno.
Not exactly a high percentage barn, particularly here in New York, who's run as low as $5,000 at Finger Lakes recently.
Oaklawn Park Shipper, Texas Red Hot.
I mean, his form is just awful there. And the thing that worries me the most is he's a horse that was claimed away from Robertino Diodoro. Tough guy to claim from.
And Unbridled Bomber, double-digit odds on the outside.
Well, an interesting thing we haven't brought up is this is a mile and 3/16. The Preakness distance you don't see a lot, and he's actually one of the few horses, if only, in fact, the only horse that has a win at this distance. There was a time when he could have been 2-5 in this race. Unfortunately, that time has passed.
Back to, he's got this, 7-year-old, now, as mentioned in the Rick Dutrow Jr. barn, just claimed back on February 6th.
Yeah, you know, this is his race 2 back, where he fought a speed bias. And not only was he fighting a speed bias, but he was also fighting the other horse taking money, the actual favorite, Laughing Boy, who had a huge tactical advantage as the controlling speed. So I thought his second place finish was even better than it looks. Then you look at his next race. Caught a huge inside bias, and while Skylander closed to win, both he and Mr. Ripple spent an enormous amount of time, the 1-2 finishers, down on the inside before angling out in the late stages as the pace fell apart, pace set by Leo, who finished third. He ran very well out in the middle of the racetrack, and I actually thought he had a bit of a rough trip with a super wide trip. So I think he's run 2 races that are considerably better than they look, which makes him the horse to beat, in my opinion.
Meanwhile, Confabulation next door at that same price. With more, let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, we see 3 horses sitting up there, Greg, at 2-1. And I think, you know, for the most part, you can make cases for or against all 3 of them, as we'll begin with, yes, Confabulation. As Andy pointed out, maybe First Trumpet gets in his way a bit, but I think dropping into this level is purely logical after 2 tries against some tougher company for the Cantor Mossies, because when you graduate from the non-3 for 12.5, this is your spot. And Confabulation actually is a horse that sometimes looks a bit weak across his top line through his hindquarters. Not today whatsoever. I haven't actually seen him in a while. I haven't covered many of his races as of late, but physically one of the better times he's appeared. He's gotten a nice warm up there, and I will take him, but I don't really have a strong case for him or against the other 2 that are logical in here, because he's got this. As Andy pointed out, there are several, in fact, all but one that have won at this distance. And Unbridled Bomber, he's got this, though, does look as though he can be competitive going this far. He's definitely a horse that has distance kind of built into his physical frame. Now, he could look better overall, but he never really looks that good. And I found it interesting. This is actually a reclaim for Rick Dutrow, as he did have him back in September of 2024 for 1 start, where he ran him for 25,000, and he finished 10th, beaten 25 lengths. Guess he wants to try to prove himself again here with He's Got This. But again, I agree, against the racetrack last time, deserves a shot in this spot. As we'll move on to the new face, Texas Red Hot. He just really kind of plodded along evenly last time out in the slop, going the 2-turn 9 furlongs there at Oaklawn. But physically, of the 3 main contenders, I actually thought he just purely looked best from the physical perspective. I don't know if he really truly wants to go this far. That's why I didn't actually pick him, because he's one that I saw way back when, like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I'd written down in my notes, I would love to see him going a 1-turn mile. And I still kind of stand by that, Greg. So a 1 3/16 might be pushing him beyond his limits.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 3 on the board. Andy, all at 2-1. The 2, 3, and 5.
I think the surprise in that is that the 5 is the same price, Texas Red Hot, and Texas Red Hot can win this race, and neither one of us are suggesting he can't. But I don't think his PPs make him look like he should be the same price as either the 2 or 3. The 2 is the controlling speed is dropping a lot. The 3 who's had excuses in his races and has frankly run faster figs. This horse is coming off of 2 subpar efforts in lower level races at Oaklawn at big prices and a claim away from Robertino Diodoro. Now listen, they brought a horse in, the Cantor Mossies, with absolutely no form whatsoever that upset the field in yesterday's last race at only 9-1. That could have been 25-1 in that race. So maybe these horses are going to run well from Oaklawn, and I have nothing but respect for Ilke. But on paper, I'm just surprised this horse is taking as much money as he is.
I concur. See what happens here. Going to need some pace to run into.
Yeah. I think, I'm not saying he can't win. I picked him 3rd. I think he is a contender in this race. I don't think he's supposed to be sort of the same price as the 2 and 3. That's all.
So loading up. He's Got This. Sahin Savachi looks to go back-to-back. 1 for Linda Rice in the second. We'll try and 1 for the Rick Dutrow Jr. barn here in race 3. Starts a mandatory pay. Pick 5. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Unbridled Bomber, all set. And they're off. Centavo flashes early speed, and towards the inside, here's Confabulation in the early mix with First Trumpet. Confabulation now with a neck advantage. We'll take him towards that first turn. At the rail, First Trumpet trying to hold that position. Now we'll take back is crossing over as Coach Kaya on Confabulation in front is up by 2. Right there, moving to the 2 path immediately was First Trumpet with a stalking journey, and Centavo's going to be in 3rd. At the rail, that's He's Got This in 4th. Further back to Texas Red Hot and the early trailer. Unbridled Bomber. Confabulation has the lead. First Trumpet wants to go, is just tugging at Vargas Jr. Wants to be up closer to this leader, went 23 and 4 for that opening quarter mile. First Trumpet trying to relax up front. Confabulation with a head advantage. Centavo has now moved right in behind them, and here comes Centavo with a move as they work up the backstretch here. And now First Trumpet is challenging Confabulation for the lead. Confabulation lets it out a little bit more. It's back up by a neck. Still right there is Centavo in 3rd. He's got this in 4th. No move yet from the back end of the field. They're with Unbridled Bomber and Texas Red Hot. They've got to catch Confabulation into the far turn. Less than a half mile to go, 47 and 4 for that half mile time. And here comes a long shot in Centavo on the move. Centavo 3 wide. Confabulation is asked to sprint away, but here, catching with every stride is Centavo. He's got this, sees the leaders backing up, gets off the rail, moves to the outside, as now Centavo, Omar Hernandez Moreno have a quarter of a mile to go, and they've got the lead at the top of the stretch. Confabulation's battling on. He's got this down the center of the racetrack. Centavo's trying to sprint away. Unbridled Bombers down at the rail starts to make up ground. First Trumpet, but a furlong left to go, and Centavo's not tiring. Centavo's up by 4. A 16th left to go, and give it to Centavo with the upset. Centavo wins it. First Trumpet, their second. Unbridled Bomber, and he's got this at 1 minute 58.74 seconds.
Centavo lighting up the tote board here, 17 to 1. The biggest price of the board was 18 to 1.
Yeah, listen, it's horse racing, and horses are going to win races that you as a handicapper aren't going to like. These are connections that very, 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 very rarely win races in New York. But in this case, they had a horse that was much the best at a big price.
Bit of a shocker here. And this wasn't even close. Centavo, 8-year-old, wins for the 8th time in 69 career starts. First since a Finger Lakes win back in September.
Yeah, he's just not a horse that I could have had, but Sarah actually liked this horse. A good pick by her. Probably a bit of an overlay at that price, 17 to 1, but he's not a horse I could have used. So
4-1, 6-3 finish, and after a formful first couple of races, that completely changes here. Centavo lighting up the tote board, 17 to 1. 8-year-old with a Chatter Paul Barn. Omar Hernandez Moreno aboard for the victory. 7 to 1 underneath, 18 to 1 in 3rd. How about that trifecta?
Yeah, I mean, my 3-horse just did no running at all. He had an absolutely perfect trip. He looked like a cinch, the cinch of cinches at the 5/16 pole, and he just absolutely flattened out in the stretch. He did not finish at all.
We're going to take a timeout. Record average sales, tying a record for the most $1 million plus sales. It's wrapped up at OBS March. We'll hear from Acacia Clement, talking to one of the consigners when we come back. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Be part of history. Final Belmont Stakes and Belmont Stakes week at historic Saratoga right around the corner, June 3rd through 7th. Tickets on sale now. Be part of it at belmontstakes.com/tickets to be on hand. The first 2 editions, just an unforgettable experience.
No, it is really fun to go there, and it's like a tease going up there for the week, and the week with the meet starting just a few weeks after it, and we'll be back here for the last few weeks of racing here at Aqueduct in the history of the building. It's a good time of the year, and looking forward to getting up there. Obviously, you know, I go up every 6 weeks or so to Sarah to see my mom. It's a harsh winter up there, but good weather and good times are coming soon.
Centavo, bit of a shocker here in race 3 at 17-1, returns $37.50, and just runs away from this group.
Absolutely smashed the field, helped by the fact that how about there were 3 horses hovering around 2-1, none of them hit the super. But having said that, he won for fun.
Yeah, huge performance against this group.
Not a lucky winner that won a 4-horse photo. I mean, he destroyed the field. The big photo was for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Was in this level at 7-1 last start and did very little running.
Yeah, that was a tougher race in this, but I could not have had him. I don't bet that barn for, you know, they just don't win.
Race 4, and we are signing off at 2:30, correct?
We are.
We are not.
You
going
can
to
stay though if you want.
You can catch this on Naira Bets.
Stop you.
On the app, but we'll set it up for you. It starts the pick 6, 7 furlongs, $50,000 claiming race, 24 Mamba. Just claim. Now it's Gustavo Rodriguez in a big-time contender.
Yeah, you know what's funny about Gustavo, and I really like 24 Mambo, who was way against the track last time out, and Breslau ran that big race riding the gold rail. The second-place finisher, who's in here as well, came up the rail while he was wide. Gustavo Rodriguez has very good numbers off the claim. He's 15 for 90. With a 210 ROI, 17%, solid numbers. Off the claim with sprinters, though, he's only 3 for 40 with a $1.40 ROI, so he has huge numbers with routers. It seems so random, and you know, you think of Phileas Fogg, who arguably may have been the best claim in the country last year, given what he did. And Gustavo obviously has great numbers off the claim, and I wonder about it a little bit. It seems random to me. It just seems random, but you rarely see that big a dichotomy, and when you do, normally its trainer does well with sprinters and not nearly as well with routers. Not the case with Gustavo. It's kind of an interesting anomaly.
9-5 favorite right now. 20 minutes to post to get down in that pick 6. You can do so at Naira Bets. OBS March sales, we told you going to break, just concluded. Happened Tuesday through Thursday. And record average numbers tied that record, as I mentioned, for most sold at $1 million or more. Acacia Clement caught up with one of the consigners. Sold HIP 416 for $1.85 million.
I'm so happy to be joined by Susan Montaigne, SBM Training and Sales Consigned, HIP number 416, and Into Mischief Colt, who's hanging out right behind us. Great sale for him, Susan. Congratulations. How exciting was it to see how well received he was?
Oh, it's so exciting. I've been a nervous wreck all week because when you have a horse like him, and as special as he is, you just hope everything goes well, and he showed up on the day, and here he is.
Purchased by Frank Fletcher as well. He worked 9 and 4. Tell me a little bit about him.
He has been such an honest colt all year. He is about as, you can see him, that's him. He is such a cool dude. Nothing bothers him. Everything you ask him to do, he always wants to do it and do more.
For the whole team, there's a lot of work that goes into prepping these horses and coming here to the 2-year-old sale. Talk me through a little bit, the way he breathes and then going into the sales ring and the relief maybe you feel now.
Credit to my guys at the farm, my entire team, Andy, Alejandro, my entire team, my riders. We knew coming over here that he had the potential to do what he does, but the fact that he did it and he does it so easy just shows what a quality horse he is. And I'm so glad it's over with.
Well, congratulations to everybody. Well done.
Thank you.
Very exciting. If you've not been to a sale before, the buzz and hearing that gavel drop of these big numbers, pretty. Nyquist having a big sale, including the sale topper. And this sale in particular, just a lot of interest with these new freshman sires. Drain the Clock, Corniche, but also Jackie's Warrior. What Jackie's Warrior went for $600,000. They're getting a lot of attention.
I tell you what, I don't think you and I would have guessed that Corniche and Drain the Clock would be in there.
Yeah.
And interested to see how those horses do. Corniche, obviously an exceptional 2-year-old. I think he only made 1 start as a 3-year-old in the Amsterdam. I picked him. He finished last. And Drain the Clock, of course, one of the few horses to beat Tracky's Warrior.
Yeah, with a poor start.
Yeah, he eliminated Jackie's Warrior. One way to beat a horse is to eliminate him at the start, and that's what he did.
Well, now they can battle out again at stud. We will see you again 5 Eastern start time for round 2 of our coverage. Oaklawn Race 8, River Winds. That is the Purple Martin. Norm Cassie, Ramon Vasquez meets leading rider. We'll team up. Speed from the inside. Can this filly get it done? Gate to wire. Then in the main event, grade 3, Whitmore. Tejano Twist, 7-year-old. Back in action, won it back in 2023. It's his 4th try in this race. Got to deal with Tough Catch, the up-and-comer for Dallas Stewart. We'll see you at 5.
A surging debut at 2. An international tour de force. An explosive winner of 2 sire-making Grade 1 races.
Raging Torrent running the race of his life. And Raging Torrent and Frankie Dettori cruise to victory in the Malibu. Raging Torrent's coming out party is in the Metropolitan Handicap.
Raging Torrent, the next wave in the Lane's End stallion-making tradition.
The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com. Join analysts Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro on the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Get picks and analysis for all the prep races and gain insight into promising contenders on the trail to the Derby and Oaks. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel.
First again and again and again. First mission, 4 graded stakes. He made finishing first his mission, and all with big buyers. Now he's a Darley stallion, and breeders are falling in love with him. Here's fabled horseman John Williams.
First mission is an eyeful. He's beautifully balanced, and I love the way he uses himself as he moves.
Come to see First Mission and tell us your first impression. Consider it your mission.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Join analysts Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro on the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Get picks and analysis for all the prep races and gain insight into promising contenders on the trail to the Derby and Oaks. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel.